Welcome back, everybody. I am so excited to be here. We took, and this is nearly unprecedented in show history, 3 consecutive days off. What? For Thanksgiving. And so I feel I gotta get the rust off. I don't even know if I remember how to do this, but because of those days off, and I actually mostly didn't check the news, which is also remarkable. Gave me really bad anxiety, but checking back into it proved just how much we have to talk about today. Starting with Trump's Thanksgiving message. But even before that, let's warm up into this, okay? The New York Post thought that we should know what Joe Biden was up to on Black Friday, which was apparently warranting a headline. Joe Biden spotted popping into Nantucket lingerie shop on Black Friday. For some reason, this needed to be reported on by multiple outlets. You have it seen here with an epic photo of Joe Biden, split screen. Very happy about that choice, which did, of course, remind us about this headline. Joe Biden said, "Good sex is key to long-lasting marriage." So just remember that. Maybe over the holiday, you had some tension with your partner, and you're thinking, Joe Biden seems to still be happy with his wife. How does he do it? That's how he does it. He says, "Jill." Yeah, I'm bringing it back this soon. "Listen, Jill. Listen, folks." He says folks to his wife. "Listen, folks. I need some new lingerie to get me going. I think there's a 50% discount in Nantucket." And what do you have to say to this, Joe?
That can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him...
Yeah. That's fair. Okay, so that's a pretty reasonable thing to be doing, I think, during the holiday. Getting some new cool outfits, something sexy. Less normal is whatever Trump is doing in this image. And also less normal is him sending out the most insane rant saying a very happy Thanksgiving salutation to all of our great American citizens and patriots who have been so nice in allowing our country to be divided, disrupted, carved up, murdered, beaten, mugged, and laughed at, along with certain, and then he goes on to rant, you can see, etc., 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 and ultimately somehow gets the topic of Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, and says, I'm going to read this verbatim, quote, "The seriously retarded governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, does nothing, either through fear, incompetence, or both," while, and then he goes on to continue ranting. So using that derogatory term for Tim Walz. Tim Walz then responded to, so that's his Thanksgiving message, is him just mentally spiraling. And I'm going to show you how this is backfiring in a way that actually is some accountability for him, which is strange. But first, we'll look at Walz's reaction saying, "Release the MRI results," pointing to the fact that maybe sitting around on Thanksgiving and writing essays with attacks like that is not particularly mentally normal. He then said this. While you watch it, please do, if you appreciate this show and it being back. I know it was only 3 days. It felt like a very long time for me. Click the subscribe button right below the video. Just check to make sure you are. Even if you think you are, it makes a big difference.
Governor, let me have you weigh in on this, because part of your initial response to President Trump's post was to call for him to release the results of his MRI. And I want to give you a chance to give our viewers exactly a sense of what you mean. What exactly were you suggesting by that, Governor?
You know what he was suggesting. This is important context. Trump originally didn't disclose that whenever he went to Walter Reed for his second checkup of the year, that he got an MRI, and then ultimately he discloses that, and he says the doctor told him it was the best MRI result he'd ever seen. But then he was asked, what was it for? What was being analyzed? And Trump said he didn't know. He didn't know why he got it, and he didn't know what it was for. But he just got it, and he knows it was the best, whatever it was analyzing, the best thing ever.
A brain.
Well, here we got a guy on
Thanksgiving, where we spent time with our families, we ate, we played Yahtzee, we cheered for football or whatever. This guy is apparently in a room ranting about everything else. This is not normal behavior. It is not healthy. And presidents throughout time have released a couple things. They've released their tax returns, not Donald Trump, and they've released their medical records, not Donald Trump. And look, the MRI is one thing, but I think what's most concerning about this is, as your viewers out there are listening, has anyone in the history of the world ever have an MRI assigned to them and have no idea what it was for, as he says? So look, it's clear the president's fading physically. I think the mental capacity, again, ranting, crazily at midnight on Thanksgiving about everything else, there's reasons for us to be concerned. This is a guy that randomly says the airspace over Venezuela is closed. He's ruminating on if you could win a nuclear war. Look, this is a serious position. It's the most powerful position in the world. And
now, a lot of stuff was said there. It's hard not to think to oneself that Tim Walz could be the mascot for Yahtzee. He said over Thanksgiving they were playing Yahtzee. He is Yahtzee. Tim Walz is Yahtzee. I can totally picture him, Yahtzee, playing that while watching the Vikings or whatever in Minnesota. And then, who in the history of the world gets an MRI and the doctor doesn't tell you, or you don't remember why you got it, what was analyzed and what the specific results were of what was analyzed? You just kind of got it and then you thought it was really good, or the doctor thought it was really good. You have a Midas Touch doctor laying out concerning case about Trump's health, from incoherent rambling to he's confused a lot. An ongoing story, but I think rants like that further emphasize it. But this is interesting. Often it's just, another day in the life of an American is our president calling Tim Walz what he called him, and being a child, and this being his mental state when he should be happily celebrating Thanksgiving. But there's normally not any consequences. There actually seems to be some consequences here. Trump is desperately trying to keep the House majority in the midterms for Republicans by forcing Republican-led states to redistrict, like we saw with Texas, but then the Texas map was slapped down as illegal. So we'll see how that all pans out. But he's trying to get more, like Indiana. And there's an Indiana state senator who is now not going to vote for redistricting. And one of the things he cites is Trump's rant there. Look at this. Indiana state senator Mike Bohasek publicly declared he will vote against President Trump's backed redistricting efforts in his state as he raged against the president's use of a slur Friday to insult Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Look at this. Many of you, the state senator writes, have asked my position on redistricting. This is a Republican. I have been an unapologetic advocate for people with intellectual disabilities since the birth of my second daughter. Those of you that don't know me or my family might not know that my daughter has Down syndrome. This is not the first time a president has used these insulting and derogatory references, and his choice of words have consequences. I'll be voting no on redistricting. Perhaps he can use the next 10 months to convince voters that his policies and behavior deserve a congressional majority. That's actually kind of reassuring. Now, I don't know if he's saying he would have voted for it if not for what Trump said, but regardless, he's not voting for it, and he does cite what Trump said. And that is important when the fate of Indiana redistricting or lack thereof could come down to a few Republicans like this saying no. And then he takes a shot saying, kind of what we've been arguing, which is if Trump's policies are as popular as Trump says they are, which they're not, then why does he need to kind of change the maps mid-decade and try to rig the outcome artificially instead of just re-implementing that mandate we were told so much about? He also went on this thing that we covered before about trying to brand the Republican Party as the T-Publican Party or T-Publican. He had a few different spellings. Strange. Well, he was still thinking about this a few days later and posted Trumpublicans. So instead of T-Publicans, maybe Trumpublicans, and casually referencing an unconstitutional third term with the Trump 2028 yes sign that he's holding there in the AI image. So then Gavin Newsom sent out his version of the Thanksgiving rant. Happy holidays to everyone except the seriously demented piggy who turned the Oval Office into a revolving door for grifters and crooks, a true discount bin administration dividing our beautiful country while shredding the Constitution in broad daylight, etc. It's a long, I don't want to read the whole post, but you can see kind of mocking that. And then, you know how I showed you some reporting before we took our break about Marjorie Taylor Greene not being the last Republican to leave Congress? She's resigning. That makes the majority even more narrow. Now you have Troy Nehls not resigning, but announcing his retirement. And anytime you have an incumbent who decides not to run for re-election, it throws that seat more into question than before. Troy Nehls is one of the most pro-Trump members of Congress, and I don't know what the choice is for him. One explanation is he's just going to plug in his twin brother and no one will notice the difference. I'll show you that in a second. But this is notable that even he might see the writing on the wall and want to get out of the House, out of the Republican Party, instead of running in the midterms. Look at this photo they chose. This is Troy Nehls right here. He's always smoking these cigars and he'll be like, I'll just support whatever Daddy Trump wants. He's a strange one, but his twin brother is running. So if you're a big Troy Nehls person, this is heartbreaking to you, no need to fear. You won't be able to notice a difference. I don't even know which one is Troy, but one of them is Troy and one of them is his twin brother who's going to run. So there we go. And then Melania Trump announced over the break that she's creating a production company, Muse Films, something the world desperately was aching for. First Lady Melania Trump has announced the launch of her own production company, Muse Films, timed to coincide with the premiere of a major documentary about her life titled Melania. Is there really that much interesting about her life? And set to release on January 30th. Presenting Muse Films, my new production company. Now, apparently, the production company is her Secret Service code name. So, you know, they have code. This is something I've never understood. What's the point of these code names? Because we always learn what they are. You know, Secret Service will go, Muse is secured. I guess that's her name. Is it Muse? Muse is the code name that they assigned the First Lady. I guess they don't know if it's still in use, but I feel like we always learn about what the code name is. Then what's the point of the code name? Isn't it so that you don't go, Melania is arriving in 3 minutes and someone who's listening can go, oh, Melania Trump, I'm going to go get her. So you use something else? But now we know. I guess it is or was Muse. And then finally, over the break, Trump announced that he's hereby terminating any orders that were signed by an auto pen under Biden. Legally, what does that mean? Who knows?
We want to bring you some breaking news. In a Truth Social post shared moments ago, President Trump says he's terminating and therefore making ineffective any document signed by former President Joe Biden with an auto pen. Trump also warns that if President Biden objects, he will be charged with perjury. Okay, a lot to unpack here. Kristen Holmes is near Mar-a-Lago, where the president is spending the holiday. I mean, Kristen, can you just bring us...
Just one quick side thought. I have to say again, I don't understand these on-site reporter TV hits. Like, hey, I can speak better on the Truth Social post because I'm here outside of Mar-a-Lago. In the distance, I guess. We know what Mar-a-Lago looks like. That could have just been a TV. I don't really need you to be there. It's like I meant to make this point when we covered it, a reporter talking about gas prices, and Fox News had him go out and stand in front of a gas station and was like, well, so average gas prices are at about $3 a gallon. You can see behind me, it's at $4, but that's not the average, but that's the gas station, and it has it at $4. So in case the viewers don't know what a gas station is, here's one behind me. What is that? It wasn't like a shooting happened at the gas station or something notable. It was just a gas station so that we as dumb viewers can go, oh, that's what they're talking about. I never understand. And then here, yeah, you see, actually, Mar-a-Lago's not behind me, but I'm in the area. It's just in, so... That gives me more information about something Trump posts on social media, which we all just read. Okay, sorry.
The details of what this post says and what do we expect this to mean for the White House here?
Omar, what do we expect this to mean is still in question. I mean, we're going to have lawyers look at this to examine what is actually legal here of what it is that he is saying beyond these perjury charges. He's talking about essentially reversing 92% of things that President Biden put into effect. So I'll read you what this post says exactly. It says, any document signed by Sleepy Joe Biden with the auto pen, which was approximately 92% of them, I am not sure where he is getting that number, just to be clear, is hereby terminated and of no...
So he's further trying to get this auto pen thing going, and it's not working, and nobody, unless they're hardcore MAGA, thinks this is an issue at all or thinks Trump has any legitimate basis for this argument, because Trump uses an auto pen, Biden did, Obama did, etc. And it's just so that you don't have to go through a bunch of papers and every single time you want to do anything. And actually, there was one case where they posted the photos, if I remember correctly, of Trump signing a series of something, and then it was clear they were all the identical signature. So then they removed that and like put different ones posted on the site. And so they don't even know what's what here. And there's never been one single case where Joe Biden was sitting with an interviewer and they said, hey, you pardoned this person. Why? And he went, I have no clue why. Not sure. But I don't know anything about that person, but someone told me to or something. There was also never a case of Biden standing out in front of Marine One and going, oh, no, Marco Rubio. I don't know why he'd say that. But whoever, Anthony Blinken signed that. But then you go look and it's Biden's signature. Both those things we do have on Trump's record of him not knowing anything about his own wording, someone he pardoned. What? And him going, oh no, Marco Rubio handled that with the Alien Enemies Act, but Trump's signature was on it. So in both those cases, you actually have some contradiction between what Trump knew and what was signed. You don't have any of those examples.
No further force or effect.
With Joe Biden, no matter how many clips we have of one word, hibba dibba dibba dibba. So that's what Trump was up to. We'll have more later in the show, but a very angry and potentially demented president out golfing. I saw too, the New York Post. I was confused. Who goes, hey, Victor, that's the journalist who wrote this. Victor, can you go write a story up for headline news on the New York Post about Joe Biden going to a lingerie shop? Because that's relevant to Americans somehow. Hey, maybe our older male viewership will go, nice. That's cool. Like, similarly, what New York Post editor went, hey, can someone go write a story about Trump sinking impressive chip shot in viral video? Which is another one of their headlines. Seems a little bit irrelevant.